Well, hello everybody. My name
Hello,
is Sander,
my name is Christina.
and we're here with you with another episode of the Empowerment Podcast.
Yeah, and today is all about um, the process about empowerment.
Yeah,
So yeah, we just talked about it, and I found it very interesting that for me it always was like I knew all this stuff in my head already, what is right, but I sometimes didn't know how to do it. And then I felt bad. So only the knowledge about knowing things was not really moving me to anything where I could feel better about. I don't know
right.
how did you experience that, Sanna?
Yeah, I remember even before I started doing Avatar, I was already very much into self-development. I loved it, and I remember reading a lot of books and getting so inspired and like, oh yeah, this is the way, and I know, but then it sort of stayed in my head. And sometimes I did something and then I felt better, but then I quit again. So it didn't really leave me that lasting feel of empowerment. So I think going into that process of actually doing it is like what Nike says, just do it. It seems so simple, but it's not always easy. That's what I have
No,
experienced.
not at all. I have a practical life experience, as we all like to hear them all, because then we can apply it on our life. So I am a person who is struggling. My whole life was doing sports. My whole life. I can't remember when I don't. And it's like that I know my body needs it. Even the doctor is saying that, even my physiotherapist is saying that. So everyone is telling me that, and I know it's true. And always when I tried it, I forced myself doing something, I felt bad, but not doing something, I felt bad too. So there was never an experience where I had or circumstances after I did sports where I felt good. So
Mm,
and
What did you try? What kind of sports did you try?
oh, many things. I mean, I
Mm,
tried running, swimming. I hate everything that has to do with groups,
mm.
and balls. I hate that.
Really, I love those are exactly the things that I
I have a ball anxiety, I think. Oh, sorry. Tennis,
like.
badminton. Um, yeah,
Mm,
and what actually made it work into an empowerment was keep exploring it until I find something what I really like to do. And it
mm,
took me some years because
mm,
I was resisting it totally. I felt like, yeah, it can't be so difficult. Other people are just taking their shoes on and then they run around the circle and then. But I was
mm,
not one like that. And it didn't work for me the same way like for other people. And I was not so patient with myself, starting to look at it and really try things out. And finally, I ended up in something where I never wanted to be in a fitness studio.
really?
Yeah, and they were so inviting. And I mean, I'm a very positive person, but in the studio, I was always the one with a bad mood. Yeah, I came in like grumpy, and went out happy. But I could be myself in there. I didn't have to play something, and they really took the time to explain me things and to give me an opportunity to make successes with sports. And
Mm,
since then, I'm going there. And now I have this knowledge from it's good to do sports. I brought it into practical experience. And now it's really like empowering for me that I use my knowledge to do it. And that's made a difference for me. And it took me some years, I must say.
yeah, yeah. And do you remember what caused the change that you started going in the right direction? How did you get turned in the good way?
Enough pain.
Mm,
I had
right.
so much,
How do you mean that? Enough pain?
I mean, I had so much back pain all the time and
Oh.
uh, didn't disappear anymore. And I tried to ignore it. And finally,
Yeah.
I had a viewpoint from somebody who said, listen, do something, anything, find something. And I took the responsibility of, okay, I will do whatever it takes to find something, what I can do and what I like to do. And it
Mm,
does not need to be what others are doing or what I think should be good. And I think sometimes we don't allow ourselves the journey from the head into how to do it.
Mm,
We have the certain idea, we need to know, it should be easy. There's a lot of judgment on us that it does not has to take so long, or I don't know, but maybe it's also a process to bring it in our lives and
yeah.
learn from it, that I can be way more patient and appreciative with me and exploring with, I don't know, let's find it out.
Yeah, it's a fine line, yeah. On one hand, it's like you want to have a certain commitment to doing something because I know always when I get back into the gym, the first time is always very nice because I have a lot of strength because I haven't worked it in a while, and then the second and third time I already am a little bit sore, and that's I know for myself, oh yeah, that's when I need to stick through it. But on the other hand, if you really genuinely don't like it, that's also good to be in touch with. Like, am I just pushing myself because I think I need to do this, or do I actually, yeah, need to go through this because I do, in a way, think this is very important.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good example. It's a good example, and also I think something that I can definitely relate to on many levels. In my youth, I always have loved to play table tennis. All of my friends know this. In my work, I used to have a table tennis table, and we would just come into the office. We didn't need to work, and I would go with a friend of mine. We would love it, and we would set up the whole office. But I also had judgment on table tennis because it's a silly sport. Let's face it, it's a silly sport, and it's not. Well, in my opinion, it wasn't cool, and I guess that's also what I've been operating a lot on. What looks cool, what looks good, what is accepted. And a few years ago, I got more honest with myself and I said, I actually really enjoy this is what I love to do. So I
Yeah.
started looking into table tennis clubs, and that's definitely something that I really enjoy doing. And it's so
Yes.
much fun to be able to lose yourself in that process of doing something that you like.
Yeah. And I must say, the whole journey with being an avatar master was really already is part of it, becoming more myself, knowing, finding out what I want, and go for it.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
really empowering for being yourself, being me.
yeah, yeah. I agree. And it's what you related to earlier, that someone gave you a viewpoint. I remember a few weeks ago, I had a car accident, and you know about this because and I remember I was really resisting doing something about that because it wasn't the highway. I was struck from behind, and on a rational level, I really felt like it's not that bad. I mean, I knew in my mind it's not that bad. Physically there wasn't really anything wrong with me, but emotionally, I was actually pretty drained. But
Mm.
I was still, for a few days, I was like, no, yeah, it's not that bad, and I'll give myself a few days off. But then I spoke also, but I knew somewhere in the back of my mind, yeah, this isn't right. And someone gave me a perspective, and I shared with her, I should be doing better. And then she said, well, maybe you're just also a little bit critical with yourself, and you need to allow also all those feelings to come up and to work through, um, yeah, those feelings. And then we did the process, and it was good to also be honest with myself that I think, don't be such a this and that, and don't be that, and to really let that all go out and go into the real feelings of, the feeling of sadness that I had, and the car that I just lost, and also the shock of being hit on the highway, which I never thought would happen to me, and to be able to let that go and to be able to go on with my life, that was so liberating. But you need to go through the process, and sometimes you need a good friend or an honest friend to help you get on your way.
And a good exercise.
Yeah, get on your way, and then good exercise to help you easily through the process.
Yeah,
And
right.
not get lost, because it's easy to get lost, I think, in all these feelings.
And I think that's a good topic for maybe a good topic for one of our next podcasts, talking about criticism and how we can turn criticism into empowerment.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So let's leave it for now.
Yeah.
And thanks for sharing, Krishy. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you for being with us. See
Bye
you
bye.
next time. Bye.